Good morning, everybody. It's Friday morning, and I've decided I'm going to cook me some breakfast this morning, or rather for Kareem and I. Hope everybody's doing well this morning, that you're having a God-blessed day. I want to talk to you a little bit, but I just wanted to let y'all see what I'm cooking up to eat when I go there and sit down. So what I'm going to cook, I had some Italian sausage in the freezer. So I'm going to cook some Italian sausage. I already got my pan hot. And look, y'all do this. When you see that how it pops, invest in one of these grease spoon things, and it'll keep that grease from popping all over the stove. I got 2 or 3 of them, but I forget to use them. But I'm gonna use them today because I just cleaned my stove off, and not just cleaned it off. I just the other day polished it, so you may get that, put that stainless steel stuff. Here, guys. Hey y'all, good morning everybody. I am cooking me some breakfast this morning because I want to sit down and talk to y'all a little while. I started filming and my camera cut off for some oddball reason, but what I've just put in the skillet here is some Italian sausage. Okay? And what I was saying to you is invest in one of these little grease splatter things here, because when you put that cold meat into that hot grease, it'll start popping. So I got mine on low. So what I'm cooking here this morning is just some Italian. I'm gonna pan fry these Italian sausage. I already got my pot of grits going right here, as you can see. This is 2 cups of water and 3/4 a cup of grits. And what I do when I'm cooking my grits, I always put the water on, let it boil. You're gonna get to a rolling boil, about a couple cups. You may have to add a little bit more, give or take. Couple cups of water, 3/4 cups of grits, and get that water rolling. Get those grits in there. But before you put the grits in there, let's back up a minute. I do what you call wash my grits. You know, rinse them off about 4 or 5 times. Pour that water off of them at least about 4 or 5 times, and that just helps. To me, it seems to help to make them more creamier. Y'all see me looking for something. I am looking for my Food Line evaporated milk. I always pour a little bit of milk in my grits. I mixed up and got skim. I usually get regular, but I got skim. So I've already put some butter in there. Probably about a little bit more than 1/4 cup of butter goes in that, and a teaspoon of salt. And of course, when I get ready to put them on my plate or in my bowl, I'm gonna put me some. I love cheese grits. So whatever cheese you got, just throw it in there. Need a little bit more salt in those. Remember, I told you when you're cooking food, taste your food. So I put a 1/2 teaspoon. So a good teaspoon, and of course a little black pepper. Just hit them with about 1/8 teaspoon of black pepper. Grits are so good. I don't cook them that often anymore because I eat a lot of them, and I don't even eat a lot of grits, y'all. So just make about like that. Is that how y'all like them? Just about like that? Well, you cook them like I told you. Or maybe you could cook them according to the recipe on the grits bag. They'll cook up, and you can always thin out with some water or some milk. So, yum yum, those are better. I did need some more salt in them. And as you can hear, these sausages are cooking right on the stone. Now these are Italian sausages. I don't know if you ever cook them or not, but it takes a little bit of time to get these things done. So I'm gonna have to just let them sit there and cook about 8 minutes on each side. Because I'm telling you, when I cook them, they're nice and brown on the outside. You look on the inside, they're still red. So we don't want to eat no raw sausage. It's not even good. Like I said, it ain't even cute. So I'm having some cheese grits, Italian sausage. Got my eggs twist up over here. This is just 4 eggs with about 1/8 cup of cheese, and I just sliced up some pieces of cheese. So that's about 1/8 cup. A little bit of cheese makes it just wonderful. And then probably a couple tablespoons of any kind of milk, evaporated milk, regular milk, it doesn't matter. And as you can see over here, this is my plate I'm going to eat off. I had hash browns last night with the fish for Kareem, so there's 2 left. So I'm going to refry these, and that's going to be part of breakfast. So, like I said, I just got a couple things I want to talk to you all about this morning. But thought I'd let y'all tune in to see what I'm doing for breakfast for myself and for Kareem. Also, I'm going to have me a nice cup of coffee. And I'm going to be putting some vanilla caramel coffee cream. This is by Food Line. Okay? This is good stuff. And it's a big old, let's see, how many ounces was that for like $2.39? This is like 32 ounces for $2.39 in comparison to the other brands that are, I think, probably 16 ounces for $1 more almost. So we're going to tune out for a minute here. I'm going to finish cooking this breakfast up, and when you see it again, it'll be on the plate, and I'll be sitting at the table talking. I'm going to try to talk and eat this time. I don't know if I can or not, but we're going to give it a shot. Anyway, hope you're having a good breakfast this morning. If you haven't already started, go ahead and grab yourself a cup of coffee, and get ready to sit down and sit back and relax and enjoy and talk to me a little bit, okay? Okay, everything is cooking along nicely. As you can see, I've got my sausage in that skillet, and I've also got those leftover hash browns on top of there, so that's helping to heat those up. So in a few minutes, I'm going to be ready to take those sausage out of the pan, and I'm going to run through I always run through the microwave just a minute to make sure. Because those sausages are those Italian sausages are very dense, so I don't want to cook them and cook them and cook them. So I'm going to run through the microwave just for about 30 seconds to make sure the insides are cooked. So hold on one sec for me. Hey y'all, I'm back. Got my breakfast on the table. Got my sausage, grits, eggs, and that hash brown over there. Got me some lemon water in my sports bottle and a good old hot cup of coffee. So I'm going to sit down and talk to you all for a minute. Now I'm going to try to eat my breakfast as I'm talking. So y'all excuse if it bothers anybody that people eat and talk at the same time. Some people don't like that. No, my husband didn't. But anywho, good morning again. Just had something on my mind this morning that I just wanted to say to you all. I want to talk to you about. It's going to be short and sweet. Of course, I want to bless my food first. Father, we thank you for this food we're receiving for the nourishment of our bodies, Lord. I thank you and I praise you for this day, Lord. Bless the widows, the orphans, the sick, the shut in, and the homeless, that they won't be begging bread, but will be fully furnished, Lord. I thank you and I praise you. Amen. Okay, so let me go ahead and turn my light on over here. Maybe we need some more light. Let's see. Because all of a sudden, the sunshine from outside went away. It's cloudy. I think we're going to get some more of that rain from whatever storms are flowing in through this way. So anyway, we don't take a lot of time. I'm going to go ahead, like I said, and be sort of munching on my breakfast as I talk. What I want to talk to you all about this morning is, you know, I've shared with you all before that I'm a mentor at the high school. And I talk to a lot of young people. And even without that, I talk to a lot of young folk because I still got young adults and young children in my own family. And it just occurred to me the other day when I went to a meet and greet for the new principal that's coming to the high school where I mentor at. And we had, we talked a little bit. Very nice young man. I'm looking forward to working with him this year with those kids and trying to do some good things for the kids in the community and that go to that school. And of course I work as a volunteer. I'm on the board at the Arts Council. And so I come in contact with quite a few people in general, and especially young folk. I'm always advocating for young people because they don't have the experience or the expertise or knowledge to advocate sometimes on their own behalf. And most of the time, if you got young folk in your life, they don't want you advocating sometimes. They don't want to hear what you got to say or do what you say, do it like that. But anyway, what I wanted to just to fill you in so you see where I'm coming from. When we are talking to young people, it just occurred to me that we need to be mindful of the fact that when we're talking to them about whatever about life, about how to dress, how to go look for a job, how to clean their room, and all those things. We are coming from a place of experience. You know, in my situation, I've been doing housework and house cleaning for almost, what you would just say, for math purposes, I'm 70. So I've been doing this for the better part of 65 years, because I can remember back to kindergarten where my grandma had me cleaning up and doing all kinds of stuff. So, that's good. Anyway, when we're talking, just please bear this in mind. And I'm saying this on behalf of my young people. They don't receive and understand like we do. So don't expect that when you sit down to give them that talk or to confront them about something, that they're going to understand everything you're talking about. That's going to come with some time, some experience, and some practice. And we want to plant seeds. Is just look at it like planting seeds. I know we know about, planting and harvesting. We know that, but do we really understand that? Let that marinate for a minute. It's just like when you plant in a garden, you go out there and you got to get the ground ready. You got to dig the hole. You got to get the weeds out. You got to get the rocks out. You got to make sure that you have the right kind of seed for the kind of soil that you're planting in. So we're doing all these things in preparation that when it's harvest time, those seeds that we planted will come up and bear fruit that we can use in a garden situation. So we can make that nice garden salad, so we can cook that good fresh pot of greens or dig some potatoes or whatever it is that we plant. So we got to look at not just young people, but people. If you're talking to somebody that comes from a totally different background than you do, don't expect that they're going to understand at the level at which you're giving that information or advice or whatever, or chewing for or whatever it is that you do at times. But I was just thinking, mostly for young folk, when we sit down and talk to a young person, do not think that just because you give them the information that they're going to receive it. And most of the time, I'm just going to tell you, and I'm speaking from my own experience in talking to my young folk that I have to deal with in my life. I don't know nobody from Charlotte, North Carolina. Yeah, excuse me just one sec while I answer this phone. Hello? Just what I thought, a telemarketer. They sucked me in this morning. I usually don't even answer when I see those weird numbers, but Charlotte is a legitimate city. Back to what we were talking about. Anyway, when I'm talking to young folk, give the information by all means, because I've been talking to my children ever since I had children. And when I think back, even now, when I talk to some of my older grandchildren, 21, 22, 23, up to 30 something, there's still things that they do not understand. So imagine trying to talk to a little teenager about some of this stuff, and they sitting there looking at you like, either, what are you talking about? I'm ready to go. Grandma, auntie, mama, hurry up. I want to get back on my cell phone. This is why it's not that they are all the time being disrespectful or just not paying attention. They don't understand. So we have got to find ways to engage our children, our people who are unlearned. We have got to figure out a diplomatic or cordial or peaceful way to help them to understand what it is we are trying to impart. Just like what I'm saying to you now. Hopefully you are getting what I'm trying to say, because I'm trying to put it in the simplest terms that I know how to put it. Is just make it plain to people. Try to talk to people in a way that they get it. And my thing, because I'm an old instructor, I'm in that old instructor mentality. Show, do, tell, and follow up. You show them what you want them to do. You do it. Then you tell them again. Then you come back and you follow up on. So that way you know that whatever you said to that individual, they got it. They can run with it. You remember when Jesus was talking to the Pharisees when he was walking throughout the land? I think it's in the book of Matthew, somewhere over there in Matthew, and it's in other scriptures as well. How he said that what he said sometimes fell on fertile ground, thorny ground, rocky ground, and depending on what that person character is, that personality, that level of experience, when that information goes out there to them, it depends on all those things as to how they receive it and can react or respond to it or act on it or put it into motion. So think about that when we're dealing with our youth and when we're dealing with people who are not where we are based on what we're trying to explain. So that'll help us, at least it helps me, not to get so frustrated and aggravated and be ready to say, well, look, I went and talked to those kids. They were throwing paper airplanes, shooting spitballs at each other, talking on the cell phone. You know what? You didn't engage them. So we know a lot of that is because sometimes people do those type things when they don't understand in order to distract from the fact that they don't, that level of understanding is just not there. So especially, I'm talking especially for the youth, but it'll work with anybody, but especially for our young people because we're trying to still train these children up. So when I go back in the fall out to where I am, I'm going to have a better understanding, even as much as I know about dealing with kids. God just gave me that revelation that be more patient. Be more understanding. Pull back and think about it. You listen to what you're saying and, know your audience. In other words, this sort of ties back in to the talk we were talking about last week when we were talking about know who you're dealing with. Take the time to know people. It doesn't matter if they're children because you're an adult and giving that information. It doesn't mean that they got to get it just because you're giving it. Go back and get to know that individual because you're not doing that individual any bit of good if they are not getting what you're giving, especially if it's something worth getting. So again, I'm going to go back in the fall to the high school as a mentor, more refreshed and with a different approach to how I deal with these young kids because I had freshman girls and they were quite a challenge and I didn't get too frustrated, but I didn't have to get as frustrated, let's put it like that. Because I needed to have gone back and said, you know what, you're dealing with babies who have never done nothing but run wild, and now all of a sudden we're trying to do this adult stuff with them. It can't happen that way. So when I go back in the fall, I'm working now on some things that will engage them, that will, the old saying that says accentuate the positive. And by that I mean I'm going to accentuate and try to draw out the things about them that they're interested in. So when I come to them with what I'm trying to impart, those two things can meet up somewhere in the middle. You understand? I can't understand that, where I'm going with that. So give me some feedback on that. Even with your children in the home, I don't have any small kids that live with me, but my 20-year-old does. Grandson does. He's soon to be 21. So even him, when I'm talking to him about some stuff, he gives me this blank stare because you know what? He does not understand. Even he's my grandchild. He is around me all the time, knows who I am, how I am, but he still does not understand and grasp at the level at which I do because he's his own individual. So I have to be patient with him. I have to keep, boy, pick them things up off the floor. Boy, do this. Boy, do. And I'm thinking to myself, that's my grandson. He should be the most brilliant, well-learned individual in the world. Not so, because you know what? Individual is the key. He's an individual and he learns at the level, whatever's inside of him. But that does not preclude me from trying to teach him to do better. And I'm still learning from them as well. I learn something every day from these kids. So, like I said, this is going to be short and sweet. I can't talk and eat. My food's getting cold. I said this was going to be short and sweet, and it is. And I just wanted to come to you and say that to you this morning, because it was heavily on my mind and it was something that I thought I wanted to share, because hopefully those of you who do have children, you'll take it to heart and sort of give those kids almost like give them a break. And my thing is give them a break, but don't let them get away with nothing. Now that's what I said to the new principal. I said, you know what, he asked me one question. He said, well, what would you offer me in the way of dealing with these kids? And I said to him, you know what? Going back to the teaching that we did last week, the truth will set you free. So if you approach these children with the truth, get it so that they can trust you and try to understand you, then it will be easier for you to give them a break and don't let them get away with nothing. So with that, I'm going to say toodaloo. Thank y'all for tuning in. Give what I've said a little bit of thought. Give me some feedback on the channel. Spread this word out there because school is about to start. And for those of you who have children in school, maybe it might help you to help your children or somebody's children that you know have a better school year, because there's many, many things going on in this world. And these children need to be focused on making their lives better and everybody around them. So with that, I'm going to say love you guys. Thank y'all for tuning in. Go ahead and eat your breakfast, honey, because mine is about cold. Love y'all. Toodaloo. Have a blessed, blessed Friday. Mm.